Okay, so this is the long and short stitch. It's basically like a satin stitch, and you use it to fill in areas and then also do some wonderful thread painting with it as well. Now, obviously this area here it's just too long to be filled in with satin stitches. Anything over maybe like 3/8 of an inch, I would consider putting in a long and short stitch. So we're going to anchor our threads like I demonstrated earlier with the back stitch. Leave a little bit of a tail, go back, and emerge right up where we're going to be stitching, which actually is going to be a little bit over here because this little area kind of curves a little bit. I'm going to get that with a stitch right down in there and come right back up here. That's basically just a satin stitch that I did there. And I can also work kind of the satin stitch for this area too, because it's short enough where it's when I'm in here that I'm actually going to do the long and short stitch. So let's get in a couple of satin stitches, again up on the left and down on the right, going just outside that guideline. You don't have to worry about the guideline on your right, but I'm just going to cover it for right now. And as you can tell, our area is going to get a little bit bigger here, so we're going to have to start going into something that is going to make sure that those threads stay down. And it's going to start right here. So we just took a stitch. Now what we're going to do is take a short stitch. Let's go ahead and clip this little tail out of the way. It's not going to go anywhere. That's why we use embroidery scissors. It allows us to get right in there and cut all of that off. So we're going to take a short stitch. It's going to be a half the length of the stitch that we just put next to it. But see how it's also being put down as a satin stitch? Now we're going to put down a longer stitch. Come right back up like we would a satin stitch. Our next one is going to be a short stitch, half the length of the stitch we just did, which is about, a ½ inch, maybe a little bit more. I tend to take pretty long and short stitches. It depends on what thread you're working with. And then half the length there, and then another long one. And you're going to continue this. This is your foundation, I call it. Alternating between long and short stitches. And as you notice here, I'm keeping a pretty good sized gap in between all of these stitches here. That's because eventually you're going to start packing it in with a lot more stitches. We're going to go back in and do a second row. So I like to leave a little bit more room than you typically would. We're going to make it all the way across here. Another long stitch, followed by a short stitch. And now I'm going to put my thread all the way back up here to the beginning. And flip over my work and come all the way back here where I'm going to start that second row. Flip it back over again. Now I'm going to come right up into that hole that I made that first long stitch with and come down and fill in just like we do a satin stitch. Now you'll notice we don't really have to do a long and short stitch. We're just going to continue with our stitches and fill in the remaining space within this area. If we were working say in this area down here, we would have our long and short stitches, and then our next row, which we have a lot of room here, they would all be the same length. But because they follow that foundation row, they appear to be both long and short. It's okay if we see our little background fabric a little bit. Once you block your work, that'll That'll take care of that. And that basically is your long and short stitch. I'm just going to continue and get all of those. Now, if this row or this area continued down further, we would basically be doing different lengths here and not ending at this area here. And then it would appear to also just continue with that long and short pattern. But we're ending it here at this guideline. I'll demonstrate the rest of the flower in later videos.